You've got ideas, you've got ambition, you've got no time, or so you think. I'm Marisa Lonic, and I help busy moms with big dreams and no time. Welcome to the Mama Work It podcast. Hello, mamas. Welcome back to another amazing episode of the Mama Work It podcast. I couldn't be more excited to welcome my guest today, Dani Kenney. Dani is an international life and business coach and certified practitioner of NLP, EFT, time techniques, and clinical hypnotherapy. She is dedicated to helping female entrepreneurs master their energy and their mindset so they can make more money, make a bigger impact, and create a life they are obsessed with. She has over 10 years of experience in high-level business management, leadership, and coaching. She has coached and led workshops for women all over the world. When she's not helping busy women create the life and business of their dreams, she enjoys playing and going on adventures with her husband and 2 daughters, and is getting ready to welcome baby number 3. So if you are running your own business, your own side hustle, or most of all, your own empire of juggling working motherhood, you're going to want to hear what Dani has to say in this episode. Dani, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel like this is way overdue, and I could not be more excited to be here with you.
Same. Okay. Well, first things first, let's just get to know you a bit better. You're a life and business coach. You focus a lot on subconscious practices and their tremendous impact on life and business. So tell us a little bit more about how this came to be for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of starting my business, I had gone to school. I got my bachelor's degree in business administration, and I thought I was going to run other people's businesses. I wanted to be a leader, really honestly, for someone else. And it was the perfect gig. I think I did that for close to 10 years. And then that was when my first daughter came into the world, and I had the experience that so many women have, and you don't really understand it until it happens to you, the way that your world gets completely like flipped upside down. So I remember literally holding my brand new daughter and looking down at her and realizing that I couldn't go back to living the life that I was living before. Even though that was the life I wanted, having kids just really changed everything. And it's kind of like a no duh, but again, it hits you when you're there in that situation. And I know it impacts all of us really uniquely. So I ultimately did end up going back to that full-time job for a little less than a year. I was able to figure it out in about 10 months. And so what I did was I was looking at everything I was doing at my full-time job, the things that I loved the most, the things that I excelled at, things I was teaching, and the way that I was leading. And I started making a list of like, what are the other things that I could do that would utilize these gifts? And previous to that, coaching, I feel like nowadays everybody knows what coaching is, but 10 years ago, no one knew. When I told people I was a life coach, they were like, what? I would get the craziest looks. And so I had met a life coach right around that time, and it piqued my interest. And I thought, you know what? I think this is it. When I put all the pieces together, I think this is the thing that I'm going to dive into. So it started out as life coaching. And then naturally, I started noticing who was drawn to wanting to work with me, like who my clients were. They were all women. Many of them were moms, and many of them happened to also be business owners or fellow leaders. And so that was almost 8 years ago. And that really kicked off what I'm doing now at this point. And I'm so grateful because it's been, such an incredible ride and such an incredible opportunity to get to serve these women over the last 8 years.
Yeah. Such similar stories, I think, that many moms experience, where even if they are very career driven, very ambitious, often something shifts. And whether that's wanting the flexibility to work from home, or, the flexibility and autonomy and schedule, or gosh, I don't know, so many things that are just slightly different when you bring that baby home.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah. So for the moms listening who may not be familiar with a big part of the work you do with which is energy and mindset
Yeah.
related to life and business coaching, can you give us a quick and dirty lesson like what exactly this means in terms of working motherhood and why it is so essential to master it?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so we started the business, just really quick. We started the business. I was doing all of the things. I was really focused on doing, on taking action, on reading all the books, and I wasn't getting the results that I knew I was capable of. And I knew this world of mindset work and even energy healing existed simply because the stepping into the world of coaching had opened up some doors. And so when I started focusing a lot more on my mindset and my energy, that was really when, and it was purely selfish at the time. Like I wanted success for me. So I was going and I was learning these things. And really quickly, after implementing the tools that I had learned, that was when my business really took off. And it wasn't just my business, but when things got easier in business, things naturally got easier in every area of life. And that was when I realized, okay, the subconscious reprogramming, the mindset mastery, the energy healing, the inner work, this, if this is going to work for me, this has got to work for other women. This has got to work for my clients. And so that was when I really started placing a very big emphasis. It's the three pillars of everything I do are the life and business success strategies, the mindset mastery, and the energetic and spiritual side of things. And I think at first, some people might be a little bit turned off, right? So but the fact of the matter is they're all so important. If you want to have that success, they all go together. So a quick and dirty, the easiest way to describe this, and this is not just for leaders and entrepreneurs, this is for everybody. This is for every human being. I'll never forget, and you and I have talked about this before, but it's the simplest way to put this. There is this cycle that's always at play. And if you guys are listening and you're taking notes, you're going to want to jot this down. There is this cycle that's always at play. And this is actually rooted in science and psychology and behavior. So this is not some like woo woo thing that I made up or some person just decided to throw together and it kind of makes sense. It's very real when we look at how things operate. And it's an acronym known as TFAR. So TFAR. And this explains why the energy and mindset portion of everything we do, why it's so important. So the T stands for our thoughts and our beliefs. And so it's this really beautiful, loving reminder that everything we desire begins in our inner world. It really does begin with us. So thoughts and beliefs then lead to our feelings. That's the F. So our feelings and our emotions and our thoughts and our emotions, they kind of oscillate between each other. They inform one another. And so everything begins as an internal representation. And then we get to the A, which is our actions. So the combination of thoughts, beliefs, and our feelings then create the actions that we take or maybe don't take. And then from there, you guys know this, our actions or lack of actions then determine our results and our outcomes. And so it's so like, I don't want to oversimplify it, but it really does get to be that simple. And there's so many different ways we could go with this, but just to keep it really super short, understanding that information and then starting to look at your thoughts and beliefs from a new lens and then noticing how do those thoughts and beliefs make you feel, and then based on those feelings, how does that inform your actions and your results? And even just having that small framework and starting to make little shifts can make such a massive impact in every area of our lives and how we're showing up for our partners, for our children, for ourselves, the results that we're getting in our careers, in the realm of business and finance. And so I think that's my favorite kind of intro into this is real. Take this, try this, it totally works.
Yeah. Yeah. And I have heard you teach this before, and every time it resonates
Mhm.
differently, like it hits differently. So even though it's something so basic, I think it can help anyone listening, no matter where you are, sort of on that mindset and energy scale of knowledge,
Totally.
let's say. So let me ask a follow-up question to this. So let's say you've become self-aware enough to know that your thoughts and your beliefs are not what you want them to be.
Hmm.
How do you make that shift? Like how easy is it to make that happen, or hard is it to make that happen? What do you need to do?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Marissa, I love that you're asking this question because the way that I'm going to explain this is there's different layers to this. So when we look at mindset work and personal and professional development, which you and I could geek out over all day long. And I'm
All
sure
day.
everybody in the Mama Work It family can totally relate to that. This is where things like mantras and affirmations can be really helpful to start looking at, okay, what am I believing now? And if this is not supporting me, what can I choose to believe instead? However, so affirmations and like power statements and, having a post-it of the things you want to remind yourself every day on your bathroom mirror and like saying those things out loud in your favorite power stance, that's all really great. And if you're doing that, don't stop doing that. But when I say it works in layers is because affirmations and power statements can be a really great way to create shifts for some of our beliefs. But this is where the importance of the subconscious work comes into play, where I don't want to burst anyone's bubble, but if you are, let's say you're wanting to start a business, you're a mama with a side hustle, and you have not cracked the code on how to make $1,000 a month yet. First of all, I love you. I see you. I was there. I know that can be, when you have that goal, even if it's as small as just $1,000 a month, I just need $1,000. I just need $1,000. When you're trying to get there again and again, and you can't get there, it's really discouraging. So if that's where you are right now, and then every day you're affirming, I'm a multi-millionaire business owner, I'm a 7-figure earner, what ends up happening is your subconscious, you can say it out loud all you want, but your subconscious mind is honestly calling your bluff. Your subconscious mind is saying, you're a big fat liar. And so what ends up happening, or some version of that, because our ego, our subconscious mind is not
My
very
subconscious would not be as nice.
yeah, okay. I was gonna say our subconscious mind. This is where when we hear things like self-talk, specifically negative self-talk, it's not very nice. The things we say to ourselves, we would never utter to anybody else, right? And so that's where the layers come in. So there are certain things that you can affirm all day long, but if you can't get your full self, your body, your entire mind on board, you're honestly wasting your breath. And so this is where starting to understand. So one of the things that when Marisa did my intro, she said NLP. She said a bunch of crazy acronyms. NLP is neuro-linguistic programming, and it's a set of tools that helps you understand the language of the mind. And so I always say that our mind can either be our greatest asset or our worst enemy. And the differentiating factor there is, do you know how to program your mind to leverage it so that it is your greatest asset? So this is where diving a little bit deeper and learning about subconscious reprogramming, or hiring someone like myself who is trained to help facilitate those results. And there's other incredible modalities. I'm also trained in hypnotherapy. One of my favorite things, and hypnotherapy is so powerful because it works with the unconscious mind, is when I'm going to bed at night, if I happen to be in a season of life and business when I'm feeling discouraged, or I'm feeling really anxious, or I'm feeling overwhelmed, or I'm not feeling confident, I'm just not feeling like my most confident self, and I've got an important meeting tomorrow, I'll just literally go on YouTube. And I have a gift that I'll share with you guys in a bit, but I'll go on YouTube and I'll just Google hypnosis for fill in the blank, whatever you're wanting support around. And so there's so many incredible tools. But that being said, Marisa, it can be really easy. It can literally be as easy as, okay, if I am working towards $1,000 a month right now in my side hustle, taking a moment to close your eyes and think about, okay, that version of me, I know this sounds so simple, but it's really powerful. That version of me, what are the thoughts she's thinking? What does she believe to be true about herself, about the business she's running, about the incredible work she's here to do? And for some people, it can be really easy to shift into that state. And then for others, it might take a little bit more work. And I know I hate to admit it, but I fall into that camp of people who need a little bit more work. I've spent a lot of money working on the mindset and energy piece, and I'm so grateful for it. But it really just depends on you and trying different things and being mindful of the results that you maybe are or aren't getting, and moving forward from there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so glad you mentioned that subconscious piece because I think a lot of us, because we can't see it, taste it, smell it, right? Any of that, we often doubt it, but it plays such an important factor, an important role. I mean, I remember you telling me a long time ago, it's like what, 95%
Mhm.
of everything we do comes from the subconscious. Am I correct in quoting you on that? Or
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And I'll never forget, you and I probably had the same reaction. Like when I first heard that, and then I ended up sharing it with you, I was alarmed. So, just
yeah,
for anybody listening, our Mama Work It fam, so our subconscious mind is responsible for anywhere between 95 to 99.996% of the outcomes and results in our life. And so understanding that is deeply important. And again, that means that our conscious mind, the mind that is here right now listening to this podcast, the mind that gets so excited to read books and to learn and to journal and be in your gratitude practices, whatever those beautiful things you're doing consciously every day, don't stop doing those. But they're not responsible for as much as the result and outcome as you might realize. And so that's where the subconscious work is so, so, so important.
yeah, yeah. All right. Well, your zone of genius is supporting women entrepreneurs in growing and scaling their businesses. And you do this relying heavily on leading your clients through meditation, mindfulness, and energy alignment. So, talk to us about some breakthroughs that you've seen for your clients in their inheriting these practices.
Yeah, absolutely. So, inside of the work that I do, I always talk about, specifically as business owners and whatever industry you're in. If you're a leader, if you're a professional in working for a large company, or you're an entrepreneur, knowing your numbers is important, and not even just knowing your own numbers, but I'm really interested in statistics, and I'm interested in averages. What is a great conversion rate on sales? What's a great open rate on emails? And so understanding, for like the unique place where you are, what are those averages? Because I want to make sure that I'm falling within that, right? Me personally in my own life and business, but also my clients too. I want to be able to say, okay, cool, here are some good numbers to strive for. And at the same time, the thing that gets me so flipping excited is when I get to see my clients, and even aspects of my own business, I get to see results that literally defy the statistics, that defy the odds, like results that are so incredible that on paper, they literally don't make sense. And I get to see that on a pretty regular basis. And I am absolutely convinced that a big part of that is the subconscious reprogramming, is the energy and the mindset work, is the what I call magnetic attraction, right? Because anybody can go out there and buy a book on how to do something and then go do it, and get decent results with it. And so one of my favorite things was, it was about a year ago, and there was a woman who was getting ready to invest in one of my programs, and she was terrified, which I totally understand. Marissa and I know this, are both regularly investing in ourselves. And every time we do so, that is a stretchy thing, right? To bet on yourself, especially as that investment number, maybe every time you invest, it gets a little bit bigger. It's always going to be something that stretches you. So I remember she was absolutely terrified. And so I had used some of my fancy, mindset and energy tools to share with her, to help her feel a little bit better about making that investment. We set some big goals in a short period of time. And she not only blew past those goals in a matter of a few weeks and blew her own mind, but at the beginning of that year, she had zero clients, which was why making a financial investment was terrifying for her, because there was no money coming into her business. And I should believe, like, I shouldn't have been shocked, but you guys, it was so big. I was shocked. She went from 0 to 50 clients in less than 60 days, less than 2 months. And I was just, when she came to me and shared this with me, I was having a hard time wrapping my mind. I'm like, wait a second, hold on, what? And I made her repeat it again and again. And so that was one of those instances. And the cool thing about this is, Marissa, she didn't do anything different. She didn't take a different action inside of her life or inside of her business. I said, what made the difference? She said, I showed up. I listened to what you told me, what you told me to do, Dani, how to get the most out of this program. So she showed up to our program calls. She took notes. She listened to the meditations that I gave her to listen to every single day. And she was like, and that's it. Like, okay. So it does get to be that easy, So that was one client example. And then just recently I was doing my numbers. I like to track annual trends. And from 2019 to 2020, we had 90% growth inside of Dani Kenney coaching. And then from 2020 to 2021, we had another 90% growth year. And
Wow.
I mean,
That's incredible.
it was
Congrats.
amazing. Yeah. So those are the types of results that defy the odds, defy statistics. I want to know what the statistics are, because I want to blow past that, and I want to help all of my clients do the same.
Love, 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 love. Oh, thank you for sharing those. That's incredible. All right. So for the newbies, or even like the skeptics listening right now, although I'm sure after hearing that, they're thinking something's up here, right? What are some teeny tiny steps they could start taking to turn this into a regular thing that they practice?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I feel like we should co-answer this question, because I feel like you have spent the last year weaving really lovely things into your life and into your business to practice some of these. So the first thing I want to say, I actually have something small if you're willing to try this, but the one thing I want you to know is, when it comes to the realm of mindset and energy, and really what we're talking about here for any skeptics out there, when we say mindset and energy, really what we're talking about is physics. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about universal laws. And so if you're somebody who is like, I don't know about all this stuff, what I want to encourage you to do is, I want you to go Google universal laws. And one universal law, just to get us all on the same page, that we're all aware of, is the law of gravity. And the law of gravity is an easy one to believe in, because like Marisa said before, some of what we're talking about in this conversation, and even some of the work I do with my clients, it can be really hard to get yourself on board with, because you can't always see it. You can't feel it. Right? It's hard to immerse your senses in it. And so it can be hard to believe it. And I get that. I've been there. I just gave you an example of client results. And I was like, hold on a second. This doesn't make any sense. And so things like the law of attraction are literally just as real and just as viable as the law of gravity. But we don't always believe in the law of attraction because it's based on something we can't see, like in the moment where we can feel gravity, we can test gravity. You can grab something and toss it up in the air and watch it fall down. And it's like, okay, of course. So first understanding that everything we're talking about today is rooted in science. It's rooted in physics. And I honestly don't know them all off the top of my head. And I'm very excited. One of my friends who actually, she was the one who introduced me to energy healing many years ago. She has a course this year called Universal Law School. And I'm like, sign me up for that because I really want to understand the science behind all of this. But so one of the universal laws that many of you have heard of and maybe didn't realize that it was just as real as gravity is the law of attraction. And in the spiritual world, we call it manifesting. I actually don't use that term a ton because I feel like that's a term people roll their eyes at. But so the idea behind the law of attraction is, what you put out is what you are going to receive back. And the whole premise behind that is everything is made of energy. And so like energy attracts like energy. And so one practice that I want you to consider if you want to play with this, and the thing I want you to know, I want to preface it with, there is literally no harm that can be done in me in you doing what I'm about to suggest to you. And so what I want you to do is I would love for you to keep, like, grab a piece of paper, grab a journal. I'm a paper planner person when it comes to productivity and planning. I love my paper planner. And so I would open up just like a blank note in my planner. And I want you to start keeping a list of little wins and little miracles. And at least once a day, but if you're like really on board for this, multiple times a day, just jotting down. This can be a one-liner thing. It can take 2 seconds. I want you to start jotting down and documenting all of the wonderful things that happen. This can be like teeny, teeny, tiny. Like you look up in the sky and you see a beautiful butterfly or you see a bird and it's like your favorite one. You're like, oh, okay, cool. And it just brings a little spark of joy. I know this might sound so small, but this is really powerful. When you start keeping a list of your own little miracles, naturally you're going to start, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm doing this for 2022 because I haven't done this for a long time and I'm getting myself fired up. But what ends up happening is you start noticing more of those. You're going to start noticing things go your way more often. You're going to start to notice that you smile a lot more, even if it's just little pockets of your day. So again, no harm can be done to you or anyone else by trying this. Worst case scenario is you can come back to me, find me on Instagram, and you can say, Dani, that technique that you shared with me, it didn't work. And I'm going to coach you and I'm going to probably support you in looking at where else are you convinced that things in your life aren't working because you're so attached to that, right? And I've been there. There's no shame in that. I've totally been there, so stuck in my own stuff and my own heaviness and my own like kind of cruddy headspace. But so that's what I want to suggest to you is right now, if you're up for this, I'm so going to do this with you guys. I want you to just get a piece of paper and write down wins, miracles, whatever you want to call it, and start tracking at least once a day, things that are going your way, things that bring you joy, things that you notice. And I want to use the word promise. I don't use the word promise a lot, but I want to promise that it will create a shift for you.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I haven't been doing this practice so regularly either lately, but now you got me excited to get started in it again.
Let's do this. Yeah.
Let's do it. All right. Well, we are going to move on that note to our lightning round now. And this is where I'm going to ask you some random, just for fun questions, just so our listeners can get to know you a little bit better on a more personal level. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Yes.
Good. Okay. Let's see. Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
I am an introverted extrovert. So naturally I'm an extrovert, but I think motherhood made me lean into being an introvert where I really love and get energy on being on my own, but I'm an extrovert at heart.
Yeah. I hear a lot of moms answer in that way. I can understand.
Yep.
What book are you reading right now?
Oh my gosh. A better question is, what book am I not reading right now? So, one of my favorite pastimes in the whole wide world is to go to a local bookstore called Half Price Books. And I'll just go in and I'll let my intuition lead me. And then I'll have that stack of books on my nightstand. So, there's a couple of those right now. The one I've been grabbing most of all, you would love this one, Marissa, and so would the listeners. It's called Do Less, Achieve More. Do less,
Yes,
achieve
please.
more. Yes. Yeah.
Let's do it. Do you know the author offhand?
I do not. I will get that for you. I think the book was written in like 1990. So it's like old
Oh,
and
nice.
yellow.
It's going to have some fun 90s examples to
Yes.
reminisce about. Okay,
Yes,
awesome.
totally.
Yeah. All right. What's your guilty pleasure TV show?
Um Anything reality TV right now. I just blew through the home edit organizing show. Yeah.
Well, you're nesting, so that makes
I am
sense.
nesting. Yes. Yes.
That makes total sense
Yes.
right now. All right, let's see. Nail salon, hair salon, or spa. You can only pick one place to visit for the rest of your life. Which one is it?
Hands down the spa.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What if you could only eat one food for the rest of your life? What would it be?
I feel like this is such a basic answer, but it would be either sushi or pizza. It would be sushi or pizza, Hawaiian pizza to be exact.
Wow. Okay, very specific. I like it. What's one app you can't live without?
One app. Oh, I don't know that I love my answers, but I'm just being really honest today. It's Instagram. I love Instagram. I love
Do you
being
know
on
Instagram
Instagram.
is our most popular answer to this
Okay.
question?
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're
Cool.
not alone. You're
Okay.
not
Good.
alone.
Good.
Okay, Dani. Well, I know you mentioned earlier that you had something for our listeners. So why don't you tell us what that is before we head out and also where people can find you after the show?
Yes, absolutely. So come hang out with me on Instagram on my favorite app. I like to think that I put out some really fun, valuable content. I love hanging out in Instagram stories, and I love hearing from people too after they listen to a podcast or see me somewhere. So reach out, send me a message. I will message you right back. I want to get to know you too. So it's super easy. It's literally just my name, Dani Kenney, is where you can find me, and Marissa has the links for that. And then the free gift that I want to give you is something that I loved creating, but I think I love it because when I see people download this free gift and use it, they get such incredible results. And so it's actually a bundle of 3 of my all-time favorite meditations. So again, meditations that I actually created for clients who were inside of a paid coaching program. And when I saw the results that they were getting, there's a client attraction meditation. There's a future self. So getting to meet the highest version of you, the version of you who has reached all of those goals, and starting to, like we were talking about earlier, take that version of you and activate her inside of your body, inside of your subconscious mind, as well as a fun one around money. So I originally created those for some clients. The clients were getting such amazing results that I'm like, I just need to make this free. I want everybody to have this in their hands. And so you can check out the link and in the show notes, wherever all this magic is, and you can absolutely download that free gift of the 3 best meditations, the only meditations you'll ever need. And again, if you do that, let me know, reach out to me, let me know the magic that comes as a result of having access to those.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing that generous offer. And thank you so much for being here. This conversation was incredible. I had no doubt it would be, but I'm so thankful for you and for you being a guest on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I love you. I love the Mama Work It fam, and it was an honor to be here with you.